Hi everyone, this is my immigrant diary. We told you that you could become a US citizen in 1 year, I think in about a couple of videos ago. But do you know that you can become a US citizen in 1 day? On just the first day that you apply, you can actually become a US citizen. It doesn't matter whether you are undocumented, it doesn't matter whether you live outside the United States, whether you're a green card holder, whether you're a student, any status that you have, you can actually become a US citizen on the first day. So stay tuned. We are going to let you know how that process works. Stay tuned to the end of the video and we'll introduce that to you. Precious, do you remember the first couple that were shared about how long it took them to become a US citizen?
Yeah, I remember we had a video that I'm sure will be linked in the description where a couple spent about 18 years in the US to become a US citizen. They came in as students. I remember the step was from becoming students, 2 years on the HB1 visa. Finally, the employer to sponsor them for green card. Then after green card, after a couple of years or 5 years again, then they apply for US citizens. So it took them about 18 years. I remember that video. You can check the link in description.
Amazingly, I think a lot of different processes for different people. If you are on H1B visa, generally speaking, it takes a maximum of 5 years. So for workers, for business holders, it's like 5 years maximum. And if you are married to a US citizen, it takes 3 years to become a US citizen. But with this method, the first level is that it will take you a year to become a US citizen. And that route is joining the US military. So that is the main route. You guys should keep that in mind. We are going to go through some of the processes that they have, and we are going to leave the link in the description for this particular thing that we're going to talk about today. So feel free to explore it when we are done. I'm going to share my screen with you now, Precious. So this is the page, Naturalization Through Military Service. Basically, if you Google this, you'll be able to find it easily. And there are many information that are surrounding this page. I encourage you to look at all the other options here, and if there is any additional link that they provide, so that you have everything that you need. But the most important thing that I wanted to bring our audience, especially our audience's notice, is if you go to this page, they have like many links here. So I already opened this one. You can see the eligibility. They provide a link to the N400 form. They use some words like section 328 or 329 of INA. You have to go and research that. It has to do with military service to have more information. So I am not going to talk about that part right now. But the most important thing that you need to keep in mind is that, first of all, like the title says here, do 1 year of military service at any time. So, Precious, that means that me that have been here for so long, I would have been a citizen by now.
You should have, I mean, exactly. Exactly. Maybe we should have joined the military and just get a citizenship and get it over with.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like it's so peaceful when you finally have your documents and you don't have to worry about. But I definitely want to encourage those who are undocumented, especially like during this period when the administration is enforcing the law and deporting people who are undocumented. So this is something that you can easily do, and you can go apply and join the military. So it did say, yeah, if you serve an important honorably, so that means that you didn't commit any crime or anything that would dishonorably discharge you from the U.S. Armed Forces. So if you served honorably in the U.S. Armed Forces for at least 1 year at any time, you may be eligible to apply for naturalization, while some general naturalization requirements apply under INA 328. Other requirements may not apply or are reduced. To establish eligibility under INA 328, you must. So you must means you must be able to fulfill all these requirements here, every one of them. So the first thing is that you are 18 years and older. Sorry if you are 70 years or younger. Very, very sorry. You not qualify for this. Like I mentioned in the first sentence, you have served honorably at any time in the U.S. Armed Forces for a period totally at least 1 year. And then you have submitted a completed form N426. So make sure that you go through all the requirements that is in the form, and you're able to have submitted that before you actually file for naturalization. That's what that means. You can demonstrate that if separated from service, you were separated under honorable conditions. I think this just reinforces the honorable discharge if you are no longer with the U.S. military. You are a lawful permanent resident at the time of your naturalization interview. You meet certain residence and physical presence requirements. This is not clear, but again, you have to do a little bit of research on your own to make sure that you meet the.
So while I can throw more light on that, so basically To become US citizen, you must show that you meet physical presence. That means you've been present in the US. You cannot become a US citizen while living abroad.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That
So
makes
you
sense.
have,
That makes a lot of
yes,
sense.
we become a US citizen while living in the US. And also physical presence can be shown with your tax document, which is required for your application at that time. So you must show that you've paid tax or that you're physically present in the US, and you have a permanent address in the US. So you cannot become a US citizen living abroad.
That makes a lot of sense. And then the next
For
line
this
says,
category, for this case, not there
yeah.
are exceptions to where you can become a US citizen living abroad, but for this case, you can't for this process. Yes.
The next one is you have to demonstrate the ability to read, write, and speak English unless qualified for a waiver or exception. So this one, I also don't have the information. I think for ordinary application for naturalization, they say if you are above the age of 55 or 60 or something like that, you can get a waiver. So I'm going to guess that the same applies to this one
Yeah,
too.
so to demonstrate that you can read and write and speak English is because you'll be required to recite the pledge, so you'll be required to recite that, and you'll be given a handbook during the interview. There's an handbook you'll be given. A friend of mine who just became a US citizen recently gave me the handbook. So I mean, you'll be required to read them, and you're required to also answer, if I'm correct, I think 6 out of 10 questions, but they'll give you what to read. So it's just for you
But
to.
that's the next line, which is demonstrate knowledge of US history and governance.
So yeah, so it's part of it.
Yeah.
So for you to demonstrate knowledge, you should be able to communicate the knowledge, right? So that's which is in line with the previous question, which is read and write. So basically, yeah. Of course, there will be some exception where maybe candidate is blind, candidate is dumb, deaf. So there will be certain waivers.
Yeah, there are definitely exceptions. Like if you
Yes.
simply don't have physical ability to do that, I'm sure that there are exceptions for older people for normal routes, but I'm not sure about if you served in the US military. Then the next one is you demonstrate good moral character for at least 5 years before filing your N400 through the day and naturalize. So which means that like you didn't commit any crime or something like that, no DUI under your name. I think like if you get a parking ticket, nobody's gonna bother about that. But really it's more the serious crime that actually cause harm to others. Those are the ones that the US government is concerned about. Then the next is demonstrate an attachment to the principles of the US Constitution and be well disposed to the good order and happiness of the United States during all the relevant periods under law unless waived. So this has to do with patriotism basically. We did cover a video of Khalil.
Yep.
Basically, he was protesting on behalf of Palestine. Unfortunately, he was involved and he was also a leader of did cause harm to the Jewish students. So in this kinds of cases, it caused harm to the Jewish Americans, and he is not American. Even if he was able to remain in the United States, that would be something that the government can say, because of this, we won't grant you naturalization. So you want to be careful. Again, went through the video, you want to be careful about what you get involved with so that you can be on your best behavior. And when you go to these interviews, nothing is standing in your way to be able to become a US citizen. So they provide additional resources. Please go check it out. Just make sure you are able to go through everything. If you don't speak English very well, ask someone who speaks English well to be able to help you go through the document. But the most important thing is that like understand the requirements. Now, the good part, the best part, or the better part, I would say.
Please go to the best part.
Now, how do you become a US citizen on day one? It's right here in the next session as a service during periods of hostility. And what does that mean? It says if you are currently serving or previously served honorably in the US Armed Forces during a designated period of hostilities, you may be eligible to apply for naturalization. While some general naturalization requirements apply under NA 321, other requirements may not apply or are reduced. Basically, from my initial interpretation, is during a period of war. And I think if the US is a war, that makes total sense, because I don't think there's any major form of loyalty that you can show to a country than to go and actually put your life on the line for that country. And it doesn't matter where you come from. I'm pretty sure this apply across board. So if we take a look at the list, this first period is during World War I. The second one is during World War II. I'm not sure what war was going on here, but definitely this was during the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War happened during that period. I'm not sure exactly which year it is. This is during the Iraq War in the 90s. And this is when the terrorists attacked the United States. The interesting thing about this is that this has been in place since 2001. Since the terrorist attack in 2001, the US has declared that from then up until now, a period of hostility. At least from the way I interpret it, is that if you join the US Army and you go fight on the war, of which there's so many conflicts going on in the world, and you go there, you serve, and you fight for the United States, you can immediately apply to be Of course, it means that you have to have met the other requirements. I think there's a certification that they expect from you. There's like some other forms that you need to fill. But technically speaking, if you can fill all of those things on the first day and you apply for the naturalization, you can actually be granted naturalization. Now, reality is a different case because if you think about the pressures, if you go and fight war, we have time to apply for.
You get US citizenship and go to war. It's a trade-off. But funny enough, while the US is not the first to offer, even Ukraine war, Russia and Ukraine, Ukraine, they offered that. There are certain Africans, even Russia offered it too. So during the time of hostility, countries like this will offer you citizenship if you sign up to fight in the war. So the US also have that available. And if you sign up that you're signing to be deployed, then
Exactly.
you can become US citizen from day one. But becoming a US citizen from day one, you're gonna get your US citizenship. That's just what it means. Because you're signing up, nobody's gonna give you a US passport that day and you're changing direction. No, Baba, you're going to the war. You're being deployed. It's not, so it's not like take your passport, you dodge.
Right. You will go and fight first.
So, not necessarily war in the way we see war in war movie. Sometimes being deployed is sometimes it's patrol. So you can go serve your deployment and there are no incidents during that time and you're back and,
From what I know, a lot of people actually enjoy serving in the US military. I have a friend that was in the US military since he became 80 years old, joined the military, spent 80 years in the military. He's retired now, but at 36, retired at 36. The guy is living like fine. He has his pension. He has his own.
He's cared for.
Everything is cared for at 36. But that's because he joined early. Yeah, so a lot of people enjoy. They do really, really well in the US, and we do have like a testimony from someone who actually did it. Just so you know that this is ongoing and this is real. This is a testimony from an active duty military member who used to be. Well, let him talk about the situation himself.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but I've been in America for 7 years. Oh shit, this is 8. 7 years. 4 years as an illegal immigrant. Yep. 2 years as a green card holder, a permanent resident. And 1 year as a citizen so far. So, message to you. I did it in 7. You can do it in 3.5. Wall up your stress. Wall up your stress, youth. Wall up your stress, mom. I'm home.
That's the video. I always enjoy hearing Jamaican accent. Yeah, so as you can see, he could have actually done it in less than 3 years, maybe 2 years maximum. But it was an illegal here for like 4 years, and then after that, he now joined the military and then went through the process. So technically speaking, he could have done it in less than 3 years, definitely, because I'm not sure what the situation is, why he had to wait 2 years on the green card before he now applied. My best guess is that he was accumulating the documents he needed to be able to apply for citizenship. So that's why I said earlier that technically speaking, you can actually become a US citizen on day one, but the requirement for you to be able to get there is not day one. So you have to go and serve. You have to acquire some documents, certification, and if you have left the military, you have to have served for 1 year and things like that. So some things can actually eat into your time before you now get that.
But Wale, you're actually right. Sorry to cut you, but you're right. You actually have gotten the US citizenship in day one. You just need to go ahead and meet up some of those requirements. But the US citizenship, that's what it means. You have it the minute you sign up. It's just the day you pick it up is different. But you've gotten it from the day you sign up. Once you work. Yeah. So you're actually 100% correct when you say
you are not official yet. Yes, you're unofficial. Yes, you have not gotten the document to prove that you're a US citizen. That's the only thing.
Yes, it's just the time to get the document to put it. But yes, you're just assured from day one the day you sign up. Yeah.
Well, if you liked our video, please like, share, subscribe. We're a growing channel. We really appreciate all your likes and your comments and everything. If you have experience with what we are talking about, we want to see your comments. If you like to join. You can also comment about that. Let other people know the steps that you're taking through or what step you want to take. And this is a video that we hope is going to help you, is going to inspire you to be able to join the US military, or take advantage of the opportunities that are available in the US to be able to become a US citizen legally. That's the most important thing. This is the legal way to become a US citizen. So for me, that's all I have for today, my brother. How about you?
All right, then. Thank you. We'll drop some of the links in the description. Go click on the link to verify it. Go on some of the sites to just check the information you need. We'll also drop the link to the videos and even all the sources that we have so that to support you as you embark on the journey. Take care now. Bye.
Yeah, good luck, everyone.